Today, Cynthia Hayes, the wife of Providence's top law enforcement official, enters Frank Caprio's courtroom, dressed in designer clothes and exuding "I am untouchable" attitude. She is here because last weekend, during the annual Riverside Community Festival, she threatened to end rookie police officer Peterson's career with her arrogant demeanor, believing traffic barriers were only for the poor, when he tried to explain that these roads were closed to all vehicles. She even threatened rookie police officer Peterson with her arrogant demeanor, saying, "Do you know who my husband is? I can end your career with one phone call." What began as a simple festival traffic check escalated into criminal charges due to this sheriff's wife's mistake, as she used her husband's badge as a weapon against the officers under his command. Today, Judge Frank Caprio taught Cynthia Hayes a lesson. Marrying a law enforcement officer does not make you privileged. This situation is not merely about a woman who considers herself privileged, facing the consequences of her actions. Today, in Judge Caprio's courtroom, it was shown to everyone how privilege once again crashed against the wall of unwavering justice, exemplified by an arrogant person who thought herself untouchable because of her husband's profession. If you've watched the video up to this point, I highly recommend not missing the bitter end of this conceited Cynthia Hayes, because watching this video offers a kind of justice that will refresh your faith in the system. Before you lean back and happily dive into this story, like the video and share where you're watching from in the comments. It was Saturday afternoon, and the Riverside Community Festival was underway. This was Providence's traditional celebration. Families gathered with food trucks, live music, and that warm, small-town atmosphere. The streets were closed to traffic for the festival. Volunteers guided pedestrians, while officials ensured everyone had an enjoyable and safe time. Police Officer Peterson, a fresh academy graduate eager for duty, was working with volunteers at the main entrance. His duty was clear: keep vehicles out of the pedestrian area, reunite lost children with their families, and ensure everyone had a safe day. Everything was going smoothly when a silver Lexus SUV appeared. It was heading towards the festival barriers, as if those barriers were not a rule, but merely a suggestion. The driver felt no need to slow down. She ignored the large signs that read, "Road closed, festival in progress." She drove straight towards the barrier, as if it didn't concern her. Officer Peterson stepped forward with a professional but polite demeanor. He made a "please stop" gesture with his hand. The Lexus stopped centimeters from the barrier. Its engine idled impatiently. The driver's window slowly rolled down. A woman in her late 40s, dressed in clothes more expensive than Officer Peterson's salary, appeared. Her hair was meticulously styled, and she wore designer sunglasses. Her face bore the expression of someone accustomed to getting everything she wanted instantly. "Ma'am, this is a festival area. It's closed to vehicle traffic. Please park your car in the designated spots and enter on foot." Cynthia Hayes, believing everything would change once she spoke her name, dramatically removed her sunglasses. "Officer, I'm Cynthia Hayes. I'm Sheriff Hayes' wife. I'm sure we can find a solution." Officer Peterson, although he recognized the name, maintained his professionalism. "Miss Hayes, the road closure applies to all vehicles. For festival safety, only pedestrians are permitted to enter. Listen carefully." Cynthia's voice carries the tone of someone explaining reality to children. "My husband runs this department. I have every right to drive wherever I need to go. Now move the barrier." "Ma'am, I can't do that. Safety regulations. Don't quote regulations to me." Cynthia's patience evaporates entirely. "Do you understand who you're talking to? My husband could end your career with one phone call. Is stopping me worth your job?" Officer Peterson feels the weight of the threat, but stands firm. "Mrs. Hayes, I need you to park in the designated area or leave the festival grounds. You're making a serious mistake." Cynthia's voice rises loud enough for festival goers to notice the commotion. "When my husband hears about this disrespect, you'll be directing traffic in the worst neighborhood in the city." Volunteer coordinator Sarah Mills approaches, hoping to defuse the situation. "Ma'am, we have VIP parking just 2 blocks away." "It's a short walk." Cynthia turns her fury toward the volunteer. "Don't interrupt me. This is between me and this officer who clearly doesn't understand how things work around here. She looks back at Officer Peterson with pure condescension. I'm going to give you one last chance to do the smart thing. Move the barrier, let me through, and we'll forget this ever happened. Or continue this foolishness and explain to Sheriff Hayes why you harassed his wife. The body camera captures everything, the threats, the intimidation, the casual assumption that marriage to law enforcement grants unlimited privilege. Officer Peterson makes the call that changes everything. Mrs. Hayes, you're under arrest for threatening a public official and disturbing the peace. You cannot arrest. Cynthia's shriek carries across the festival grounds. My husband is Sheriff Hayes. You work for him. Monday morning, Providence Municipal Court. The bailiff calls the case that will become locally famous. The state of Rhode Island versus Cynthia Hayes. Threatening a public official, disturbing the peace through the courtroom doors, walks someone who clearly believes legal proceedings are inconveniences for other people. Cynthia Hayes approaches the defendant's table like she's making a grand entrance at a charity gala where her husband's donations guarantee VIP treatment. Judge Caprio observes her approach with decades of experience reading character through body language. Good morning, Mrs. Hayes. Judge, she responds, deliberately omitting your honor, like she's acknowledging an equal rather than addressing judicial authority. Judge Caprio notes the disrespect, but proceeds professionally. Mrs. Hayes, you're charged with threatening Officer Peterson and disturbing the peace at the Riverside Community Festival. These charges stem from your interaction at a traffic checkpoint. How do you respond? Cynthia's smile carries the confidence of someone who's never faced real consequences. Judge, I think we can resolve this quickly. Have you spoken with my husband about this misunderstanding? I'm sure 5 minutes with Sheriff Hayes would clear everything up. Mrs. Hayes, your husband's position doesn't influence these proceedings. Please address the charges against you. The charges? Cynthia laughs like the question itself is ridiculous. Judge, Officer Peterson clearly didn't understand who he was dealing with. I was simply educating him about protocol and proper respect for law enforcement families. Judge Caprio's expression grows more serious. By threatening his career, I didn't threaten anyone. I provided context about consequences. When officers disrespect the sheriff's family, sometimes people need guidance about who they're addressing. Mrs. Hayes, do you believe your marriage to Sheriff Hayes grants you special privileges? This triggers Cynthia's first major mistake. Instead of recognizing the danger in this line of questioning, she leans into entitled justification with absolute confidence. Judge, my husband dedicates his life to protecting this community. His family deserves recognition and respect. When officers like Peterson treat me like any random citizen, it shows disrespect for the badge and everything my husband represents. The courtroom murmurs at this breathtaking display of entitlement. Judge Caprio raises his hand for silence. Mrs. Hayes, are you saying laws apply differently to you than to other citizens? Here comes the statement that will destroy her reputation forever. Cynthia Hayes looks Judge Caprio directly in the eye and delivers the words that transform a routine hearing into viral infamy. Judge, laws are written for regular people in regular situations. I'm not regular people. My husband runs law enforcement in this city, monsieur. Those rules apply to others, not to people in our position. The courtroom achieves complete silence. Even the court reporter pauses typing. This sheriff's wife just declared herself above the law. Judge Caprio's voice carries deadly calm. Mrs. Hayes, did you just say laws don't apply to you? I said they apply differently to people in different positions. My husband's authority extends to protecting his family from harassment by rookie officers who don't understand hierarchy. Subscribe to Judge Stories if you believe everyone faces equal justice. Judge Caprio reaches for video equipment. Mrs. Hayes, Officer Peterson wore a body camera during your encounter. The footage has been submitted as evidence. Let's review what actually occurred. Cynthia's confidence doesn't waver. Perfect. Video evidence will show exactly what I've been explaining. A rookie officer disrespecting the sheriff's family. Courtroom monitors display the body camera footage. Timestamp, Saturday 2:30 p.m. The video captures Cynthia's silver Lexus approaching festival barriers at dangerous speed, forcing volunteers to jump aside. Officer Peterson approaches professional. The audio clearly captures every word of their exchange, including Cynthia's escalating threats about ending careers and Sheriff Hayes' authority. The most damaging moment shows Cynthia screaming at volunteers, calling them festival nobodies who should learn their place when dealing with law enforcement families. When the video ends, silence fills the courtroom like smoke after an explosion. Judge Caprio addresses Cynthia with surgical precision. Mrs. Hayes, you've just watched yourself threaten Officer Peterson's career, intimidate festival volunteers, and claim immunity from traffic laws based on your marriage. How do you explain this behavior? Cynthia maintains her entitled stance despite overwhelming evidence. Judge, the video shows exactly what I said. I was educating Officer Peterson about proper protocol when dealing with law enforcement families. Sometimes education requires firm communication. You threatened to destroy his career. I explained consequences of disrespecting the sheriff's family. That's not a threat. It's reality. Judge Caprio removes his reading glasses with deliberate precision. Mrs. Hayes, your husband swore an oath to uphold the law equally for all citizens. You used his badge to intimidate officers and claim immunity from regulations. That represents everything wrong with abuse of power. Cynthia makes her final catastrophic mistake. Judge, I think you're being overly dramatic about a simple misunderstanding between my family and a rookie officer who needs better training. Judge Caprio's voice becomes glacial. Overly dramatic, you threatened public officials, disrupted a community event, and declared yourself above the law. Your misunderstanding is criminal behavior. He opens his sentencing guidelines with methodical precision. Mrs. Hayes, threatening public officials carries maximum penalties of $10,000 fines and 1 year imprisonment. Disturbing the peace adds another $7,500 and 6 months. Do you understand the seriousness of these charges? Cynthia's face loses color for the first time. Judge, surely we don't need maximum penalties for a first offense. First offense, this was systematic abuse of your husband's position to intimidate multiple public servants. Judge Caprio begins delivering consequences with devastating precision. For threatening Officer Peterson's career using your husband's authority, I'm imposing a $7,500 fine. Cynthia barely reacts. Money isn't her primary concern. For disturbing the peace at a community festival, an additional $10,000 fine. Now she shows alarm. $17,500 total represents real money, even for a sheriff's family. I'm also suspending your driver's license for 2 years, effective immediately. Cynthia stares in horror. 2 years? Judge, that's impossible. I have responsibilities, appointments, social obligations. I can't function without driving. You should have considered transportation needs before using your vehicle to threaten public servants. Judge Caprio delivers his most devastating punishment yet. Since you believe your husband's position grants you special privileges, you're going to learn what public service actually requires. What do you mean? 150 hours of community service performing manual labor at Providence Police Headquarters, filing evidence, organizing records, cleaning facilities. You'll work under supervision of the officers you threatened. Cynthia's entitled facade crumbles completely. Manual labor. At the police station, Judge, people will see me there. That's humiliating. Public accountability for public misconduct. Mrs. Hayes. Additionally, you'll speak at area high schools about the dangers of privilege and abuse of authority. Students need to understand that position brings responsibility, not immunity. Cynthia stares in disbelief. You want me to speak publicly about this? That's degrading. Judge Caprio's response cuts deep. What's degrading is using your husband's badge to threaten officers who serve this community. Your consequences reflect your choices. As bailiffs approach to collect her license, Judge Caprio delivers his closing statement. Mrs. Hayes, your husband dedicated his career to equal justice under law. You used his name to demand special treatment and threaten public servants. Today you learn that marriage to law enforcement demands higher standards, not lower expectations. Cynthia Hayes, who entered believing spousal immunity exempted her from consequences, leaves facing $17,500 in fines, 2 years without driving, and 150 hours of manual labor under police supervision. 3 days later, the body camera footage goes viral across social media platforms. Comments flood every post. Sheriff's wife thinks laws don't apply to her. This is what happens when privilege meets reality. Judge Caprio just delivered a masterclass in equal justice. Sheriff Hayes issues a public statement supporting Judge Caprio's decision. No position grants immunity from law. My wife's actions don't represent our department's values. She will face consequences like any other citizen. 6 months later, Cynthia completes her community service at Providence Police Headquarters. Officer Peterson, now promoted to detective, supervises her final day of filing evidence. Mrs. Hayes, he says professionally, "You've completed your service requirement." Cynthia responds quietly, "Officer Peterson, I owe you an apology. I was wrong to threaten you. Thank you for maintaining your professionalism." For the first time in her privileged life, Cynthia Hayes understands that respect must be earned, not inherited through marriage. Sometimes the most valuable lessons come from losing everything you thought protected you. Judge Caprio proved that justice wears no wedding ring, recognizes no spousal immunity, and applies equally whether you're married to a sheriff or married to a saint. If you found this story engaging, I invite you to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can discover more content like this by exploring my other videos. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.